Hi guys. So yeah, we're on Slowdive release day, 1st of September. They've just come out with Everything Is Alive. I literally went into HMV and got it. I ended up going for the HMV exclusive CD. So it came with a little badge that you like sew onto your bag or your battle jacket, shoegaze battle jacket. And yeah, well, I didn't get much else for that though, just the badge. I mean, there's no like hidden track or anything like that. I don't think. Anyway, I haven't actually let the Slab track 8 actually like play out. After the song's done. So maybe there's like a hidden track, but not that I'm aware so far. Anyway, so obviously these are first impressions. I've only like listened through it like once and went back and listened to some tracks like twice, 3 times. But as a whole, I've only listened back to it once. Well, my curtains are a bit messed up here. This is the problem, with all the wind in there, it blows out of position. It's meant to be the mid-part kind of style. But yeah, obviously, don't take this as the final word. This is just like first impressions. So, you ask me about the album in a few months' time and I might have a different opinion altogether. But on first reaction, I think I can see. I think this album works as an album. Songs work as a compilation of songs rather than the songs alone. Because when I listened to the singles, or the ones that came out in the build-up to the album, I thought that as songs they didn't really stand up on their own. I just thought it was quite weak songwriting. I thought they had some kind of mixing or mastering problems. I think they did though. I think that is a fact. It did have some like YouTube conversion problem, some kind of sample rates. Because I think that the one where it's most obvious was A Life. When I listened to the single that they released on their channel, I think they had to re-edit it because there were comments in that saying about it, and I could tell that it was much quieter than a lot of the other singles. I thought Kisses was, that was mixed really well and mastered well. That was about right. But yeah, there were some like songs, the Slab and that seemed quite over bloated, but I think they might have like changed. They might have sorted the resolution of that. Although they didn't have to. They didn't have to re-upload it somehow. They managed to change it just by editing it without actually having to re-upload. So that was interesting. But yeah, I think, these songs work as an album, and I can see why it's an 8-track album because, it's obviously they want it short enough so that you can listen through the album without getting bored. So I can see why it's 8 tracks. If it was meant to be like a singles based kind of album, then they would be like 11 tracks or something. But I guess the 8 tracks makes it flow really well. And there's nothing remarkable songwriting wise. Nothing out of the ordinary. I think the songwriting's weaker than the self-titled 2017 album. I think there isn't really like a Star Roving on there that's got like a fantastic vocal melody that kind of soars over the backdrop of noise. There isn't really that. Instead, there's a lot of instrumental on this album, and the first track is in the style of Star Roving. It's got this real punishing, real like dreamy drone. The typical synthy pad style that they can create on the guitar. It is that, but there's no vocals. Song really doesn't go anywhere, but it works well as an intro track. The second track, Prayer Remembered, this is where I have a bit of a problem. I definitely have a problem with the second track because it is Aphex Twin, Stone in Focus. It's like a complete lift, a rip-off of Aphex Twin, Stone in Focus. Maybe a bit of rhubarb in there as well. Those two those two Aphex tracks, it kind of shares the same chord progression, and the fact that Neil or Rachel, the fact that they don't offer any vocals to it, makes it even closer to that Aphex Twin song. Whereas if they actually, if they added vocals, then I think they could have steered it away from that Aphex Twin feel. But instead, because it's vocalless, it reminds me of Stone in Focus, which I think is on Aphex Twin's ambient works. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed by that one. And then track 3, it's like, I think that's a life, innit? But I thought the standout tracks for me were Andalusia Plays and Chained to a Cloud. They were my two favourites so far. And Andalusia Plays is like, it's got an acoustic guitar in it. It's got a very I can see Neil Halstead's sort of solo stuff has come through there. It's more folky style, but it still retains, it's got this backdrop of the huge delay and reverb. They do it he does it sparingly. It's not full on all the way through. But he uses the electric guitar is used sparingly, and the acoustic guitar really drives the rhythm of the song. It's this plucky, folky kind of style, and I really like that one. I think that's my favourite, along with Chained to a Cloud. And Chained to a Cloud is more like Chained to a Cloud is it's got a nice vocal melody to it. It's got these kind of aggressive explosions of reverb that happen sparingly again. But there's some really nice electronic elements to this album, which I really dig. Actually, I didn't think I would, but I really dig a lot of these synthy intros that they got. Makes it sound really modern. Adds a different, another element to the sound, another dimension to it. I really like the synth parts, which I think are programmed by Simon Scott, apparently, according to the credits on the CD. Credited to Simon Scott. I don't know why Rachel couldn't play them, really. Maybe she plays them, but Simon Scott wrote them. I suppose that's quite reflective of Simon Scott's solo stuff, because I think he does a lot of electronic experimentation, I think, in his solo projects. So it makes sense that he wrote those parts, but I guess Rachel live, she must play that on a Roland Juno keyboard. So yeah, first impressions, I think, so basically to summarise it, I think there isn't like a hit song like an Allison or a When the Sun Hits. There isn't really anything like that. It's more of an album that kind of works if you let it flow through the 8 tracks. And I think 8 tracks was a good idea, actually, because if it was any more than that, then it might drone on for just a little bit too long. I think 8 tracks is good. That's the bottom line, really. It's a nice, easy-going listen. If you're on a plane, on a flight or something, or driving in a car at night, it does work as a collection. But really, I think compared to their EPs, the early EPs, Just for a Day, it's not really holding up, really. It's a bit below them, I would say. And compared to the 2017 comeback album, that's a tricky one. I think even the 2017 one is better. I would put it, obviously these are not final words. These are just how I see it at the moment. I wouldn't put it bottom of the pile. It's more exciting than Pygmalion. It's got more exciting moments, but It's going to be down there, I think, you know. But yeah, that's it so far. Cheers. Cheers, guys. See you later.